Selamat malam. Good evening. Tonight I'm going to tell you the story of Oma Tjong. It's a true story, and I will try to tell you as precisely as I remember it. Oma Tjong was the grandmother of my grandmother, Oma Bea. And Oma is a Dutch word, and it means grandmother, but it's also a title, so you can actually have more than two Omas. Well, at least I had. And the story has great fascination for me, and that fascination is actually a part of the story, and I will tell you why. Very regularly I have lucid dreams, and lucid means clear. So lucid dreams have two characteristics. You can remember them very well, and often you can influence what happens in a dream. And almost all my lucid dreams, they revolve around a couple of themes. And one of them is architecture. Probably not very surprising for some people. And in those dreams, I'm in a city I've never been before. And I'm sure that city does not exist. And to me, I find the city beautiful. I really passionately want to be there. And there are a lot of buildings I find beautiful or interesting or fascinating. And I've never seen these buildings before, and I'm sure they do not exist anywhere in the world. So my brain can do something funny. It can design buildings that I've never seen before. These dreams I remember rather well. And very often, nowadays, I can influence what happens in those dreams. I can look around to see, oh, that looks interesting. Let me walk down that street. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, then you wake up. The other type of dreams is very strange. In those dreams, I'm somebody else. I'm wandering around, I'm traveling, I'm very sad. Feels like I'm searching for somebody I lost. And the world is very empty. Most of the buildings are empty. Most of the buildings are derelict, some are even ruins. And sometimes I meet small groups of people, and they live in buildings that are much larger than they need. These dreams I remember extremely well. I even remember parts of a dream I had when I think I was around 8 years old, more than 40 years ago. And in the dream, I was in a neighborhood I grew up in, that's in Amsterdam. And I could just walk down a couple of streets, and then I was in the dunes, and behind the dunes I could see the sea. But these dreams, I cannot influence them at all. And when I wake up, I know why. That's because in those dreams I'm somebody else. I'm really somebody else. Somebody I cannot possibly be. I also know then that what I dream, it's in the future. It's in our future. And in those dreams, something has happened in the past that made the world that way. And that person in the dream doesn't know what has happened. And for us, it still has to happen. It's our future. The event has still to happen. And that future is not here. But it's not a faraway future, because when I wake up, I recognize the buildings as being from our time. So, well, that's enough about me. So let me go back to Oma Tjong. Oma Tjong is my great-great-grandmother. She was born in Purwakarta, formerly known as the Dutch East Indies, now Indonesia. She was born in 1873 in Indonesia. And she passed away in 1952 in Bogor. That is in Indonesia. In 1952, that was Indonesia. And she's the grandmother of my Oma Bea. My Oma Bea, she arrived in the Netherlands in 1948. She is born in 1918, also in Purwakarta. And in 1948, she came to the Netherlands, bringing with her my father and my uncle. I'm born in 1970. And now what happened next happened around 1990. I'm not so sure about that. In 1990, I still lived with my parents. And my parents lived in what we call a flat in English, but that's a one-floor apartment. And that's in an apartment building. But the thing is, in the Netherlands, we used to call a flat the whole high-rise apartment building. Please picture that. So in the Netherlands, we see a high-rise apartment building. That's what we call a flat, not just the apartment. And my Oma Bea, she liked to stick to her habits. She came to visit our place once every week, and then she had dinner with us. So one day, she was over at our place, we had dinner, and she traveled on her own by bus. And, well, good grandson that I am, I walked her down to the bus stop. And one evening, she just out of the blue, she asked me, Edo, did I ever tell you about the vision of the future of Oma Tjong? And I said, Oma, no, I don't think so that you ever told me. I said, well, Oma Tjong, she used to tell us that when people start to live in bird cages, then that is the end of the world. And I was like, but Oma, what does that mean? How can that be? How can people live in bird cages? And then Oma Bea said, well, that's what we thought. That's not possible. People cannot live in bird cages. So we dismissed it. And then Oma Bea said, but then we arrived in the Netherlands. And then for the first time we saw flats. And then we knew what she meant. She meant when people start to live in flats, then that is the end of the world. Selamat jalan. Goodbye.